Good morning, everyone. Do not know who's going to join, which is perfectly fine. But I figured to just record this, not only for you all, but to record for myself. Actually, I'm making a tea. I'm making an elderberry tea because we are in fall season, and what happens in the fall? Many of us tend to get sick. So this fire cider is great for fall. It helps to boost the immune system. Helps to warm up your body when it's cold outside. There are just tons of benefits that you can get from fire cider. I actually posted them so you can refer to that. So before we start, I've already cleaned my items. Some things that you may want to get if you're doing this live with me. You may want to get a knife, a cutting board, a peeler, tablespoons, and I am going to be using my grater too. So if you have something like that, you might want to grab that. But I'll just quickly go over the ingredients for today. You're going to want to get apple cider vinegar. People call it ACV. I got this from Whole Foods. So what I'm using in my fire cider for today, I have an onion that I'm going to chop up. We're going to use the entire onion. Yes, we are. I have garlic. It says about 10 to 15. I think this is maybe 10, if not less. But it's kind of hard to tell how many cloves you have in one bowl. I have my ginger. I don't think I'm going to use all of this. I have horseradish. Be careful when you start working with this. Also be careful with your hands. Don't wipe your face because you're going to have a problem. I got a little bit of turmeric. This is raw turmeric. If you have dried, you can also use that too. I'm also going to be using a lemon. I'm going to slice it up, and then I'm going to also zest some of the skin and put that in there. I pulled out some cayenne pepper because rosemary gladstar, which we'll talk a little bit about later today, because I do have some talking points that I want to make sure that I share with you, but I'm going to use some cayenne pepper. I also went to the Chinese herbal market the other day, and I got some reishi. So I'm going to stick some reishi in there. I also got some jujube dates. I'm going to stick those in there. And I also have jalapeno pepper for a little bit of fire. Of course, fire cider. And then I also have some rosemary that I'm going to add to my fire cider. So this is going to be fun. And the thing that I actually like about herbal folk remedies is you can make it to however you like. There is no hard and fast rules. You can do whatever it is that you want. If I intuitively tend to add a little bit of this, add a little bit of this. It feels right. It doesn't feel right. I'll cut back. But I love it because you can make it however you want. So if you want more immune boosting properties in your fire cider, you can do that. If you want to include something for digestion, maybe adding some bitters, you can do that. I just like it because you can create this to your needs specifically. So I have two types of jars here. If you're like me, I have tons of jars, but these are both 32-ounce jars, if you can see. And I actually had to test them out and make sure because I was not sure. I'm going to use the wide mouth lid. I like this because it's just easier to add things in, This one is a little bit harder, especially putting your hand in, so you would just drop stuff in there. So I'm using my wide mouth jar today. But feel free to use whatever you want. You also don't have to have a jar this big. But after 6 to 8 weeks, I think I'm gonna let mine sit for about six weeks. But after 6 to 8 weeks, whichever time you decide to use, you're gonna be filtering this out. You're gonna get a filter and pour everything out and then put it into another jar. So the more the better. It actually stays pretty well. I'm gonna refrigerate mine. Also, the recipe does include honey. I'm gonna put honey in mine after it sits and after I take out all of the solids, and then I'm gonna add the honey in there. Or what you can do is you can just leave it plain, and then whenever you decide if you want to make it a tea or if you want to make it in a salad dressing, whatever you decide that you want to do, you can add the honey then. But I like the honey. I like the idea of adding the honey later, so I'm going to do that just because it feels right for me. All right, so let's get started. So honestly, for those of you, I should probably introduce myself. And I will start cutting up some onions as I'm doing that. To introduce myself, I'm Christy. Just Christy. I am a Reiki master teacher. I'm a sound healer. I have a podcast with my amazing business partner. We talk about spirituality. And I'm an herbalist. And honestly, I have been drawn to herbs for as long. I use my son as a measurement tool because he is 22, and I started using herbs when I was pregnant with him, just because I remember I got sick while I was pregnant and I did not feel comfortable. I never really took over-the-counter medicine, but I just didn't feel comfortable taking like medicine when I was pregnant with him. So I did some research and I found a very simple, easy remedy that my kids will probably tell you they could actually confirm that I've been doing this. I would take a raw clove of garlic, chew it up real quick, chase it with some OJ, and whatever I felt, in my throat, it would knock it right out. So I've been doing that since before he was a baby. So I've been doing that over 20 years. At my old job, I barely took any sick days. I actually had when I left, I think I had 8 weeks of sick days. So it works. It works unless you want to take your sick time. But I definitely know now I would be taking that sick time. But that is a really quick and easy. For some people, I will let you know, if you are sensitive, if your stomach is sensitive, some people cannot take the garlic raw. And that is perfectly fine. So you can always roast it a little bit. You can chop it up, put it in your food, whatever you want to do. You'll start realizing as you start working with it. Now my eyes are starting to sting. This is lovely. But, as you start working with your body and understanding and becoming in tune with what works for you and what doesn't, then you'll realize, okay, I should probably not take this on an empty stomach, or I should probably not eat this raw. But again, whatever works for you. I like to think that I have a stomach that's that's made out of iron. So I like to take it raw because I want to be sure that whatever's trying to get me sick is out of my body as soon as possible. So, but yeah, so I started working with herbs when my son was a baby, and then when he was born, which is also kind of part of my story with Sage House, is he was born with eczema. And, as a new parent, for those of you who have children, I'm sure you understand and can this probably resonates with you. But, a young mother, I had him when I was 25, and a new parent, I just did not know what to do, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing things the right way and also making sure that I was not harming him in any way. So when he was born with eczema, his pediatrician said that he could use steroids, and I just did not feel comfortable putting my baby on steroids. So this was in the early 2000s, around the time that the internet kind of came out, the World Wide Web. And there wasn't a ton of stuff on the internet, so I actually went to the library. This is funny that my eyes are stinging. I actually went to the library to do some research, and I found, some herbs that would work for skin conditions. Now, all that mascara that I just put on to try and look decent is now coming off. Anyway. So yeah, this is raw and uncut right here. But so I did some research and I found some herbs that would work for the skin. And so all of the baby products that I had from my son, I just tossed them, and I decided that I was gonna make my own products for him, which I did. I made his soaps, I made his lotions, I made his creams. I think I even made a powder for him too, like for his diaper rash. I just changed everything out, and it was, I do remember it did take some time, because I think we are so accustomed to medicine working quickly. That's not how herbs work. Herbs work very subtly, gently. There are some herbs that can, kind of work fast, but for the most part, you have to be very patient with herbs. So it did take some time. It wasn't like within a week or so, but his skin did heal, and to this day he does not have eczema. So let me see who waved. I think you guys have left by now, but hi everybody. Hello, I think you've gone. Hi Jill. Hi Dope Pony. I'm waving to people who aren't even here anymore, but that's okay. But so yeah, that's kind of what got me into herbs and making my own products, because herbs do work. And there are some herbs that do have there are several herbs that have some contraindications, especially if you're taking meds or if you have some underlying conditions. But for the most part, herbs are just very amazing to work with the body. They're natural, very few, issues that you may have, because lots of over-the-counter drugs, you end up having to get medicine to resolve the symptoms that come with taking the meds. So that's not what we like. We like to do things naturally over in these parts. I try to do things as natural as possible. I can't always do things natural, and there are times where I just have to bite the bullet and take some medicine. Like, I just came back from London a couple weeks ago. My son graduated from university. He's in London. Well, now he's not. He's no longer in London. Excuse me, you guys. He's no longer in London, but he's back home. But I had to take medicine with COVID. I'm washing my hands because that's just what I do. So, but yeah, that's a little bit about me. My day-to-day life is in public health, and so I guess it's kind of interesting how both of these areas of my world intersect. All right, so I have the onion sliced up over here. I'm gonna slice up the jalapeno. So let's talk about Fire Cider. So Fire Cider. So I'm one of those people, I am not the best at taking medicine, taking vitamins, or taking, supplements on a regular basis, because I forget very easily. But the thing that I actually like about Fire Cider is that it's pretty, for me, it's easy to stay on top of and easy to take. You see it, you just grab a couple teaspoons, tablespoons, and you go about your life. But I'm not the best at taking things, which is why I kind of like using herbs and teas and tinctures, because they're very easy for me to stay consistent with. But Fire Cider, this has been around for ages, and I mean, just think about it. Like, what did our ancestors do before medicine was even invented? Because for those of you, if you don't know, medicine is actually created based on the properties of herbs. Like, think about willow bark. I believe that's, I'm just rambling out at this point, but think about willow bark. Willow bark is a bark where it was used to create aspirin. That is a really great example. Well, why not just work directly with willow bark instead of taking aspirin? That's the $1 million question. So, but I just prefer working with the herbs. I find that herbs work very well with my body, and it just makes it easy for me to be consistent with getting medicine, because these plants ultimately are medicine. They carry like lifetimes of information. I mean, I'm kind of getting off track a little bit, but for real, plants carry a lifetime of information and details and medicine that we can benefit from. And it's been this way for ages. And our ancestors knew this, and they utilized the natural medicine and the natural healing properties that plants have to heal. And that's how many of our ancestors, our great-grandmothers, great-great-grandmothers, that's what they did back in the day. So I'm all about going back to when life was a lot more simplified. All right, I have a little red thing. Here it is. So, if you are into canning, or if you are into like, using your jars a whole bunch, this is a really great addition because you can just pour things in there and the rim will keep things from falling outside. Otherwise, this would have been a whole entire mess. All right, so I put the onions in there. You know what, let me go ahead and put some of the reishi. I'm gonna just stick the reishi along the sides. It doesn't have to be pretty. Sometimes I like to be aesthetic, but at this point, I don't really care. I just want this to be good and filled with wonderful natural medicine. Actually, I might break these off too. I don't know how reishi's gonna be with this, so we'll just be surprised together. All right, so I got some reishi in there. I'm gonna put in my jalapeno peppers. Just to the side. I'm going to put like 2 tablespoons of rosemary, dried rosemary. If you have fresh, even better. Also, if you're working with dried plant material, and I didn't do this, but it may be helpful to just crush it up a little bit so that the volatile oils get released out of the plant. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. All right, jujube dates. I'm gonna put a couple in there, not a lot, maybe just like 4. I'm gonna slice them up and put them in there. But let's go back. So Fire Cider's been around for several hundreds of years, if not, longer. But the reason, again, the reason why this is just a really great thing to have on hand is if you have kids, if you, have a busy lifestyle, you just have medicine that you can get to quickly. It's already ready for you to use. And of course, you have to wait the 6 to 8 weeks, but you can determine how long you want to let the herbs sit. But my children have, I don't want to say unfortunately, but I was always giving them some sort of stuff. Mostly the garlic and the orange juice, I think, is one of the main things that they've gotten accustomed to over the years. But so Rosemary Gladstar is an old G in the herbalist community. She has contributed so much to the herbal world, and she is looked at as like the grandmother of herbology. So back in the 70s, Rosemary is the one who came up with the name Fire Cider. Even though people have been using this recipe for years, she coined the phrase Fire Cider, which is, how she's kind of linked to it. So I want to share you a little bit of some herbal tea in the community. See what I did there? A little herbal tea, little tea. So, and I have some talking points that I want to make sure. So basically, how we live in a society that is very, it's, entrepreneurs, it's all about, money. And so it's very important to be able to trademark your stuff, any of the work, or copyright it so that other people can't use it. Well, apparently there was a company that was making fire cider, and herbalists all over the world, they were making fire cider and selling it, and called it fire cider. But this one company was actually monetizing it, and I believe the situation is that they actually decided. So there are these 3 herbalists that got together, and I can't remember how long ago they actually won. This was like a 9-day trial in court that they won, to make fire cider a very generic term, because herbalists use fire cider all over the world. And the reason why they wanted to fight so hard for this is because fire cider is used by everyone. This is from a tradition that has been used for ages. It's been used across the world. It should be allowed for everyone. Everyone should be able to utilize the term fire cider. And so this company was monetizing off of it. They actually won the court case. The 3 herbalists won the court case, where they decided to allow fire cider to be used as this generic term in herbalism where everyone can use it. And so that was like a feather in the cap for herbalists all over the world, because if you copyright something, especially with herbs, you risk losing the tradition over the years. And so this was a decision that was made, and they won, and so that was kind of cool. So let's talk about apple cider vinegar and why apple cider vinegar is so good. Now, I used to drink apple cider vinegar, so this is what I got. Make sure that you get it with the mother. And you can also look on the bottom and tell if it's with the mother from the what's settled on the bottom. But apple cider vinegar, I used to drink it daily, although you have to be careful because it can erode your teeth. So you can drink it from a straw, or you can add a little bit to your tea, or you can add a little bit to your salad dressing. But I used to drink a little bit, like 2 tablespoons every day to help with bloating. And this thing is like a miracle worker. It also helps with inflammation. There are a lot of really cool properties that apple cider vinegar has. So if you're not accustomed or you're not familiar with using it, I believe it's one of those things that you want to keep in your kitchen, just for any moment in time. But you can use it for anything. I think apple cider vinegar, you can use it for leg cramps. You can use it for stomach issues. You can also use it for fungal issues. There's so many cool things that you can do with ACV, also known as apple cider vinegar. So yeah, I'm struggling with this garlic clove. So let's talk about fire cider. So we have vinegar, which is going to help to pull out. You know what? I didn't chop these up or crush them. So with your garlic cloves, you want to crush them again because you want to get that medicine out of the garlic. So I'm going to smash them. So the vinegar in the apple cider and the ACV is going to help to pull out the medicinal properties out of all of the plants, the herbs that you're putting in your apple cider vinegar jar, which is amazing. And again, I love the fact that you can put in whatever it is that you want to have in your jar. But it's also benefits of fire cider. It's warming to the body. So this is something that you can incorporate as part of your wellness regimen in the winter months. If you are anything like me, although things have changed since I've been in my 2nd year of herbal class and I understand my energetics, I now realize I've been able to balance out my energetics because I'm typically a cold and dry person. Those are my energetics, which means that I need to work with more warming and moistening herbs. And so I've been doing that as I've been learning, and I'm finding that I'm not as cold as I used to be. My feet used to always be cold. Tip of my nose used to always be cold. My hands used to always be cold. Don't get me wrong. I do not like cold weather. I love warm weather. I love any type of weather where I can just strip down because that's what I like. But so fire cider is really warming to the body. So if you're one of those people who do not like the winter months, then fire cider might be good to have in your household. And again, this is something you can try and see if you like it, see if it works, see if you reap any benefits from it. If you like it, cool, continue doing it. And if not, feels like it doesn't work for you, I say give it some time. But, you know, to each his own, and I completely understand. Also, the thing about fire cider, you know, some herbalists call it like the poor man's liquid gold, because it has so many beneficial things in it and added to it, that it truly is liquid gold. And it's one of those things that it's a really great tonic to take daily for just improving your overall health. Also, adding the honey to it will help to improve the taste. It is definitely, you know, once you let it, I'm just gonna say, once you let it sit or cure, you'll be able to taste it and see it is fiery. But you can also tweak it so that it's not as hot and not as spicy for you. But again, you can create it any way you like, which is one of the things that I love about folk medicine. You can create what it is that you need. And then, like I mentioned, you can make it as a salad dressing. You can put it in a tea, couple teaspoons in a tea. You can do whatever you like. So, and then also, one of the things about fire cider is you make this and you can also share it with other people and continue that long tradition of healing with the use of herbs and medicine. A lot of people don't understand. So I think fire cider is a really simple way to introduce people to herbs. I feel like it's easy, and it's, you know, it's tangible. It's easy for people to understand, like, okay, I get it. We'll see if I have enough room in here. Should have enough room to fit things in here. What else? So just to, you know, some misconceptions that people may have is that, I'm just going to press this down a little bit. And this is for me, so I'm using my hands, and it's perfectly fine. But I think misconceptions, people think like fire cider. Is it apple cider that's on fire? No, it's not. It's apple cider vinegar with herbs. You let it sit, and then you drink it. Okay, so this horseradish is a little strong. Hopefully it won't be as crazy as the onions, because I feel like I'm just now recovering from the onions. But I'm going to use all of this. I'm going to chop up. This is interesting. This is horseradish. But I'm going to slice this up. Horseradish kind of, it's like a little stringy too. This isn't something that I work with on a regular basis. Which is also kind of cool too, because I feel like working with herbs and even apple cider vinegar, making the fire cider, because you can put anything and everything in there, it introduces you to so many new things, you know. So I put in the horseradish. I'll put the cayenne in last. I'm going to slice up some turmeric. I'm going to put this all in there. Turmeric is so good for the skin. It's really great for reducing inflammation in the body. And I'm sure you all have seen how turmeric is used, like in lots of skin products, to remove hyperpigmentation and to also clear the skin of acne and all that good stuff. So I'm using all of it. It smells good too. It's turmeric. So I'm adding turmeric in here. We're almost at the end, you all. Didn't take long at all. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of ginger. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. And I'm not gonna peel this. I'm just gonna stick this in there. Do what you like. We're gonna filter it out. But again, you either want to chop, crush, or smash these items so that the medicinal properties are released. All right. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, I can't sprinkle. Well, I'll just add a little bit of cayenne, a little cayenne pepper. I think I'm telling my age, but there is this old chef on TV. I think he was from New Orleans. He was hilarious. Can you guys see this? All right, now for the fun part. So now after you've put everything into your jar, this is how it looks. It's not really as pretty as I would have liked, but you get it. I got my reishi, my onions, my lemon. I just kept the lemon skins. I didn't even shred those. Horseradish, turmeric, jalapeno peppers, jujube dates. And so now we just fill it with ACV. And we're gonna let it sit. I like to keep mine in a dark, warm place. I'm gonna allow it to bubble, and let some of the air pockets come out so I can fill it up some more. You also don't want to fill it up too much to the top. I just like having a little bit of air at the top so that whatever I'm making can breathe and it's not just sitting in there, because sometimes bacteria can, if bacteria gets in there, it's just, for me, I'd like to have some air in there. So a little bit more I'm going to add. All right. And I made a big mess over here, but this is it. All right, for those of you, if you are on, if you have any questions, let me know. Let me take a look. Hey, girl. Hello. All right, so that's it. We made fire cider, and I got the rosemary in there. This is gonna be good. And so if you all want me to do more of these videos, please let me know, because I prefer being behind the camera, but I'm also doing anything and everything that makes me feel uncomfortable, because that allows for growth and evolution and expansion, and that's what I'm all about. So if you want more of these videos, let me know. But this is our fire cider. We're gonna let this sit for the next 6 to 8 weeks. That was 30 minutes, not bad. 6 to 8 weeks. If you wanna keep it longer, that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna let mine sit for 6 weeks. I'm gonna put it in my apothecary closet where all my herbs sit. Let the magic happen, and then, I don't know, should I pour it out on live and try it with you all live? I don't know. Let me know. If you want to, I can do that, but that's it. I hope you all enjoyed today's live, and I was thinking about making some elderberry syrup next live, but let me know if you all are interested. Otherwise, I will just continue doing what I do in my kitchen with my music, in my element, and no need to share. But I think I might share, because I feel like sharing is caring, and to pass on whatever information we have. The whole gatekeeping. All right, you guys, thank you.